for President Xi. But we have a trade deficit. It is the largest deficit of any country in the history of our world. It's out of control.
中方不想同美方打贸易战，但我们绝不会坐视中国的利益受到损害。
You know, look, if there was going to be a trade war, I can tell you, Jessica, the markets wouldn't really like it.
President Trump is the guy who said trade wars, they're good and they're easy to win. Giddy up, Mr. President. Show us how.
Tensions are boiling. China, the second largest economy in the world, is not backing down. It's fighting back with retaliation after retaliation, target markets in ways we've never seen before. The global trade landscape has shifted dramatically, and at the center of it all is China, locked in a fierce trade war with the US, Canada, and Europe. The states, billions of dollars, industries on the brink of collapse, and economies teetering on the edge. In today's video, we're diving deep into the timeline of China's retaliation against the West. It's a saga filled with high-stakes drama, economic brakemanship, and controversial protectionist policies that will leave you questioning the future of global trade. Stick with us till the end, because what you're about to hear is nothing short of explosive. So, welcome to our channel. If you're passionate about understanding the intricacies of global markets and economic power struggles, you're in the right place. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss an update on this unfolding global drama. Trade war timeline, China vs. the West. The ongoing trade war between China and the West has been escalating rapidly in 2024 as Beijing fights back against tariffs and protectionist measures imposed by the US, Canada, and the European Union. The conflict is impacting industries across the globe. Let's walk through this timeline of retaliatory action, starting with the latest developments that have sent shockwaves through global markets. 1. Canada vs. China tariff war heats up. Just last month, Canada made headlines by imposing a 25% tariff on Chinese steel and aluminum. But that wasn't all. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau escalated the conflict further by slapping a 100% tariff on Chinese electric vehicles, EVs, citing China's environmental and labor standard failures.
The U.S. trade deficit in general and with China, that's clearly failed during this trade war. In the U.S. trade with China, we've imported more from China in 2022 than ever before, and the trade imbalance with China is larger than ever before. So the stated objective, none of that was met, basically, complete failure.
I think here was a misunderstanding. We all see so many Chinese products, you know, at Walmart, Target, whatever, that we probably have the impression that most of what we import from China are final goods. And we do import a lot of final goods, shirts, sweaters, footwear. But the majority of what we import from China is actually intermediate goods. That is, it goes directly for businesses for use in their production process.
In response, China wasn't going to take this lying down. Beijing hit back hard, launching an anti-discriminatory investigation against Canada. This investigation is not just symbolic, it's aimed at crippling the Canadian export market. At the same time, China filed an anti-dumping probe into Canadian canola products, accusing Canada of dumping 170% more canola into Chinese markets than the previous year. This is not just about trade, this is a full-blown economic battle with ripple effects that will be felt around the world. 2. US vs. China, the $300 billion battlefield. The tension doesn't stop with Canada. The US, under both the Trump and Biden administrations, has upheld tariffs on $300 billion worth of Chinese products. The key point here is that these tariffs target a wide range of industries, from electronics to household goods. American Trade Representative Katherine Tai emphasized that these duties were designed to deter China's unfair technology transfer-related policies. Essentially, the US is accusing China of stealing American intellectual property and undercutting US businesses by leveraging cheap labor and lax environmental regulations. But here's where things get even more complicated. The Biden administration, despite its aggressive stance, delayed a final decision on imposing higher tariffs on Chinese EVs, solar cells, and batteries. Why? There's a growing domestic backlash from American industries, particularly the auto sector, which argues that more tariffs could devastate US businesses just as much as they hurt China. 3. The EU strikes against Chinese overcapacity. Now, let's move to Europe. The European Union has not held back in its fight against China, especially when it comes to the electric vehicle market. In June, the EU imposed duties of up to 37.6% on Chinese EVs, accusing China of using state subsidies to flood the European market with cheap electric cars. The response from China? Immediate outrage. Beijing filed a complaint with the WTO, accusing the EU of violating international trade rules. And while the EU slightly adjusted the tariffs after consultation with industry players down to 36.3-, Chinese automakers like BYD, Geely, and SAIC are still facing hefty duties, with non-cooperating manufacturers seeing tariffs as high as 38.1%.
美方严重错办了形势，采取了极其错误的行动。这种行动的结果就是搬起石头砸自己的脚。
Now it's a more total war, not only economic war. So we see the real danger. We even see the real danger for the two countries to be engaged in a physical war. The U.S. Policy failed. It failed to constrain China's capacity. So in the past five years, if we didn't experience the pandemic, actually our export capacity will be stronger. Definitely, our exports of certain Chinese goods to the U.S. side have been affected, but generally, we haven't seen a drastic decline of Chinese export capacity.
4. The silent success of China's EV industry. Yet, despite these hurdles, China's electric vehicle sector is thriving. BYD, one of China's largest automakers, reported a 30% increase in sales year-on-year, driven largely by hybrid models, which saw a 48% growth. This surge in sales has catapulted China to the forefront of the global EV market. China's global market share of EV exports jumped from 4.2% in 2018 to a staggering 35% by 2023. Last year, nearly 1/5 of all EVs purchased in Europe came from Chinese manufacturers. So while Western nations impose tariffs, China's influence in the EV market continues to grow unabated. The question on everyone's mind is how long can the West keep up before its industries are pushed to the brink of collapse? 5. China's multifaceted retaliation beyond EVs. It's important to note that China's retaliation extends beyond electric vehicles. In August, Beijing launched an anti-dumping investigation into polyoxyethylene palm copolymers imported from the US, EU, Japan, and Taiwan. This investigation is a direct response to claims by Chinese producers that these plastics were being dumped at artificially low prices, which is undercutting domestic industries. This move signals that China is prepared to wage this trade war on multiple fronts, targeting not just Western EV makers but also a variety of other industries. 6. Political maneuvering behind the scenes. All these actions come at a critical time for Western politicians. With the U.S. presidential elections on the horizon, the Biden administration is trying to balance appearing tough on China while avoiding economic fallout at home. Thibault Denamiel, an associate fellow at the Center for Strategic and International Studies, pointed out that Democrats need to maintain a firm stance against China while placating U.S. industries that argue that more tariffs could devastate the economy. It's a delicate dance, one that is unlikely to end anytime soon. The question remains who will blink first in this global game of chicken. What lies ahead? So, where does this leave us? The global trade war shows no signs of cooling down. China is flexing its economic muscles, retaliating against the West with a series of calculated moves that will continue to impact global markets. From steel and aluminum tariffs to EV duties, this is a battle that's far from over. If this trade war continues to escalate, the ramifications will be felt in government boardrooms and your wallet. Will China's aggressive countermeasures ultimately pay off? Or will the West find a way to outmaneuver the world's second largest economy? Only time will tell, but one thing is for certain: this conflict will shape the global economic landscape for years to come. Before you go, hit that like button, subscribe, and stay tuned as we bring you the latest updates on the world's most controversial trade disputes.